Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is very formal. My name's Erin if you're new here, obviously, and if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I appreciate the support. So today I'm going to do a little Q&A. I asked on my Instagram for questions and I'm just going to answer them. I'm going to answer these in no particular order because I can't really decipher whether one is more important than the other. Some of them are a little bit repetitive, so I'll just answer it once. The first question, if you could only hit up 3 cafes in Halifax for the rest of your days, which ones would they be? Okay, I think, honestly, I've been loving Crookie Cafe lately, so that one I really love. I also love Bliss, and I love Ramblers. I feel like Ramblers has really good coffee. So those are my 3 in Halifax. This is like without any deep thought, so I might regret these choices, but those are my 3. My hair care routine, and then this is my friend Michaela. She said I'm glowing. So thank you, Michaela. Honestly, I have good hair genetics, which is a very important thing to mention. But I've been using Amika pretty much for the last like over a year. I did use Pantene for a little bit, but then I felt like I was getting a lot of buildup on my scalp and it was just not the vibe, so I switched back to Amika. Right now I'm using the orange one, which is Normcore, I think. And then I don't really style my hair that often. Maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. It kind of just depends. If I do style my hair, actually I always put Olaplex number 6 in my hair after I style it or after I wash it. And then if I style my hair, I will sometimes use the Dream Coat, Color Wow Dream Coat, and I use the Shark Flex style or whatever, the round brush little thing. Michaela also asked my favorite feature about myself. Honestly, I feel like if it was a physical feature, I really like my eye color. I like having blue eyes. And if it was like an internal feature about like my traits, I feel like it's my ability to empathize with people and to understand where people are coming from or try and put myself in their shoes. Okay, so if there's anything you could tell your university self about finance slash money, what would it be? I would say, first of all, I don't regret anything because I feel like every single choice I made, whether it was good or bad, led me to this point. And without all of my bad experiences with money, I literally probably wouldn't have this platform. Maybe I would, but it would be different because I kind of like built this off of my financial failures. But what I would say about money in college and university, it's more so like when you leave university. Just because you finish school doesn't mean that you should like upgrade your life. Yes, you worked hard, but like you should work harder and actually earn the money because I feel like once we get out of school, it's kind of this whole thing of like, okay, now I have a big girl job or a big boy job, and now I want to get a new car and I want to get a new apartment and I want things to look nice. I feel like you should do none of that. How do I negotiate brand deals, or do you only work with ones that offer you a fair wage? It kind of depends. I have a soft spot for local businesses, so I am like willing to charge less. With like bigger companies, I do often charge more because number one, they usually are asking for more. They usually have more specifics. They usually have more things that they want to check. They have just like bigger things that they want you to do. So like I'm going to give you an example. I worked with Layers Cupcakes. I didn't charge them very much, in my opinion. But when I went there to work with them, the woman that owns it, Jennifer, I think is her name. I really hope that's her name. She was so sweet, and she's just like, do whatever you want. I like what you do. Just do whatever you want. She didn't ask to see anything. She didn't ask to approve it, whatever. She trusted me. So there wasn't like a lot of back end work. It was like I just show up, I film, and then I go home and I edit and I do my voiceover. But sometimes with bigger corporations, because there's things that they have to include in their videos, it's like meetings with them, emails. I have a company that I've been working with, and I've been emailing with them since June. I'm recording this on September 13th. Yeah. So keep that in mind. Some of them just take a lot more work, so I ask for more money. And really, like, sometimes I'm willing to do it just because, like, I want to do it and I want money. Like, respectfully, I got no shame about it. Best place to live from your point of view after Nova Scotia, of course. Well, I've only ever lived in Nova Scotia, so I don't really have an opinion on any other place to live. I know that's not really an answer, but that's the best answer I have. I've lived here my whole freaking life. What did you study in school and where? I went to an SCC in Truro, and I took human services, and then I like my focus was disability supports and services. There's another question in here about what I studied in school, and then does your degree pertain to your current job? No, it doesn't. I did work in the field for a combined total of 4 years with Easter Seals Nova Scotia, and it was an amazing company. Like, I worked in their social enterprise program, which was basically like a place where adults with disabilities came to work, and we tried to help them with like certain life skills and things like that. But I don't work in that field anymore. It's a very challenging field to be in, and I think I went into it because I like to help people, but it was just a lot. It was a very hard work environment, and then because my mom also has a disability, I just like, it was just too much. So I don't work in that field anymore. I always get questions about what my job is. I don't share my job because I like to keep some parts of my life private. Plus, I just feel like I don't want it to become an HR thing where, like, I don't know, I just don't want it to become an issue. The people I work with know that I do social media and they know that I work with them. So, like, whatever. And, like, sometimes people do find out where I work and it is what it is. But, like, I just don't like to blast it online because I simply just don't want to do that. And I know that sometimes people will talk about their job online and then they don't have a job. And I don't want to be one of those people. Okay? So this says, oh, this is like, what would you rather, I guess? A brand with a bad reputation but high pay, or a brand with a good reputation but low pay? I like, obviously, the brand with a good reputation and low pay, but I think that reputation can be subjective because I've worked with a bigger brand that pays more that people don't like. I like it. I like the brand. I use the brand. I shop there, but people don't like it. So I think it's subjective. You know what I'm saying? So in that case, I think for me, it's just like a brand I like with a fair paying wage, you know? I'm running through these questions so quick, I've only been talking for like 8 minutes. This says, how do you balance prioritizing short and long-term goals? I kind of feel like it took me a while to figure out what I really wanted my life to look like. And I feel like what I like to do is, I actually have a template for this. So it's like $3. It's in my bio. But anyways, I like to break it down, my like yearly goals and then quarterly goals and monthly goals. And I feel like your monthly goals should be helping you to eventually reach your quarterly goals, and your quarterly goals should eventually help you reach your yearly goals. I don't really have like a 10-year plan. I kind of feel like I'm in this stage of life, like many people probably are that watch me, because I feel like the age demographic that watches me is typically like 25 to 34. Like, that's my biggest demographic. So we're in this time period where we're like, okay, we're thinking about getting married, possibly having children. And to have a 5 to 10 year plan when you don't have a partner, which it isn't, like, your life isn't about finding your partner, but like, to be honest with you, like, I do want to get married. I don't care what anybody says. Like, people might be against marriage. I really don't care, but I want to get married. So like, so that could be part of my 5 year plan. But like, I feel like once I get together with someone, that plan might change. You know what I mean? Like, exactly what I want my life to look like. Like, if I think about no one but myself and I don't think about finding a partner, I'm like, okay, period. I just want to, I guess I can do this with a partner too, but I want to be really successful in social media. I want this to be, like, honestly, my full-time job someday. I want to move out of Halifax. I just feel like I've been here forever. I love it here. The people are amazing. Like, you will not find nicer people. Maybe you will somewhere, I don't know. But like, Halifax has the nicest people ever. But I've just like lived here forever. I'm 31. And I feel like home will always be here. Halifax will always be here, but like, you do need to move on with your life and like try new things and see new places. And yeah, I just feel like a change of environment will be very good for me. That is like one of my goals though. And I think that's why I like don't date in Halifax, is because I don't want to live here. And I don't want to have to like convince someone else to move. You know, I just can't, I really cannot imagine staying here for my whole life. I think that I will go crazy. Not see myself staying here forever. I do the exact same things every single weekend. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a lot of yapping about that. Then, okay, so This is a question from my friend Justin. A good question. It says, reflecting on your journey of growth, self discovery with family, career, friends, dating, what were some of the most valuable things you learned about yourself, lessons to you about life, and how do you support slash encourage that growth in others? Okay, that's a good ass question. And this will be the last one because that's all I got. People don't care. Anyways, so what were some of the most valuable things I learned about myself was honestly like specifically when I think about dating or like family stuff or career, friends, whatever, I feel like I didn't really have good boundaries. And that is something that I really developed in the last probably like 2 years was really good boundaries, just like knowing where I should and shouldn't be and trusting myself with that. The other thing that I learned, honestly, like within the last probably 6 months to a year, was to actually listen to myself and don't try, like something that would happen with me. I might be seeing someone and I'll like see these red flags, but I'm like, no, I want to see the good in them. But they have all of these good qualities, and I don't listen to that thing in my gut that's telling me this isn't right. And it's just got me hurt because it always ends the way I think it's going to end. So, anyways, the most valuable lesson that I've learned about myself is that I have a really good intuition, and I now like have developed really good boundaries. I don't know if that answers it. And how do you support slash encourage that growth in others? Honestly, I feel like when it comes to growth and development for anyone, it's all a self journey. We know this. It sounds really obvious. But I feel like you can only help someone if they want help. Some people identify as their problems. Some people are literally nothing without the problems that they have. And that's that's it. Like you can't do anything about it. If someone wants to be their problem, having poor relationships, always being led on by a man, trust me, I've been there. Having things always go wrong in their life. They're never going to not have that happen until they don't want it to happen. That's all I can say about that. I feel like I kind of feel like people have this idea that if they don't have their problems and if they don't have a lot of bad things happening to them, people aren't going to care about them. But that's literally the complete opposite of the truth, because what I learned by handling all my problems and not having a bunch of drama and not always being like struggling with money and this guy did this to me and da 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 da, like because there was a period of my life like that, not having that happen, I'm like, oh, people actually really like me for me, and they're not around me just because they feel bad for me or they need to help me. It's like, no, they just like me because I'm fun and I can be funny. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like do what you can to let go of your problems or fix your problems and realize that people will still love you and still want to be around you and still want to help you when you're helping yourself and you don't have a bunch of freaking problems. Okay? Anyways, if you care to ask me questions, I do sometimes post a question and answer, like a Q&A thing on my Instagram. My Instagram is always linked. My TikTok is always linked. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this sound worked okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. And I'll see you next time.